All right, let's get into our next discussion now. The People's Democratic Party, no doubt, has faced its toughest test in the last 2 years, during which he suffered one setback or the other. Yes, indeed. Now, but the Supreme Court ended its factional crisis at the national level and offered the party a real glimmer of hope. Senior political correspondent Ayodele Zumbaku looks at PDP's quest to retake power in 2019.
Emerging from a prolonged leadership tussle that was resolved by the Supreme Court, the PDP Saturday held its non-elective national convention, signaling its readiness to take on the ruling All Progressive Congress in 2019.
We had a major national disaster. Still, food prices were stable under the PDP. I was told that some people are insinuating that if PDP had stayed in power, the economy would have been worse off, and I laughed. We had a strong team that was managing the economy of this country.
We made mistakes. Our ability to correct that mistake is the one that is important. The PDP is now a religion. Yes.
We mean well for our president. We continue to pray for his full recovery. We want him to be fit and unfit when we will defeat the APC government from 2019.
The party underlined its resolve to capitalize on what it described as a lackluster performance of the ruling All Progressive Congress since taking over in May 2015. The PDP, which used to thump its chest as the largest political party in Africa, says it has the capacity to wrest power from the APC in 2019.
PDP still remains the biggest party in this country today. PDP still has the capacity, the structure, the membership, the people, the local governments, and also the powerhouse.
There's no party that has not had their internal crisis, especially with Nigeria as a case study. It is for us to either make or mar the possibility of taking over the central, like you said, in 2019.
Despite resolving its leadership crisis, the party remains fractured in some geopolitical zones and states. To forestall further crisis, the convention, the party's most powerful decision-making organ, dissolved the executive of Anambra, Adamawa, Borno, Kebbi, Kwara, Lagos, Ogun, and Osun. The former national chairman of the party, Senator Alimodu Sheriff, and his key supporters were conspicuously absent at the successful convention. The leadership of the PDP might be at crossroads about how to manage Sheriff and his supporters within the ranks. If the PDP puts behind its internal crisis and contradictions holding it down, analysts say the 2019 race will be a lot tougher for the ruling party. Ayodele Zumbaku, TVC News, Lagos.
Joining us to discuss the PDP crisis is a founding member of the PDP and a Southwest Party leader, Prince Segun Seriki. Good morning and thanks for joining us again.
Thank you very much.
Okay, well, the PDP has had this non-elective convention where some 5,000 delegates showed up. But then again, Sheriff's absence, his absence and that of his supporters seems to have spoken loudly. How unified really is the PDP now, that it is looking to 2019 to clinch power?
Well, first and foremost, I want to acknowledge the fact that PDP as an opposition party is, in the current circumstances of Nigeria, most suitable to take over power, because every Nigerian, both poor and rich, have been worse off today than we were at the transfer of power to APC. But that is not to say that allegations of misappropriation and direct embezzlement of funds and demeanors against our previous public officers were not correct. So having said that, the issue is not really about a convention which is actually non-elective. It is about our desire to, in the true sense, reconcile ourselves and be well positioned to take advantage of the opportunity to take power. But if I would say I am a little bit apprehensive that our leadership needs to do more with sincerity of purpose that they are currently doing, which looks like they are playing on predetermined agenda, which will not be very good for the party.
Okay. Now let's get into the fabrics of this discourse now. PDP, in fact, a lot of national leaders, a lot of stalwarts in the party had said that they made a mistake, that the PDP made a mistake by 2015, and that was why they lost the election, as the case may be. Now that the party is back together after all the crisis, what are the issues that the PDP is sitting down now to really address that will make it different from the business as usual from 1999 until 2015?
Expectedly, one would expect higher commitment and sincerity of purpose from the topmost leadership. And like they say in law, it is not enough for them to be claiming innocence. They must embrace transparency. It is by so doing that they will be able to endear the confidence of a wider majority of the members, irrespective of whether Sheriff or McCarthy. When people talk about Sheriff and McCarthy, despite the Supreme Court judgment, it gives impression of our lawlessness. Because if there are arguments or disagreements, which are bound to happen in political interactions, and you magnify it selfishly to the level that when you even resolve, it is partial resolution, it doesn't make sense. I had the opportunity of being here last time, and I made some issues which are born out of desire to let our party succeed. It is not about people, but it is about doing what is right for the party to succeed, to go and give good governance to Nigeria.
Okay, let's put you on hold, and then we come back to do more on this.
All right, you're welcome back. It's still TVC Breakfast. We have been discussing issues around the PDP. Is it a party that is emerging from the ashes? So what does the future hold for this party? Especially
talking about 2019,
yes,
the next general election.
Indeed. Well, we have a founding member of the PDP and Southwest Party leader, Prince Segun Seriki, who's been discussing with us before went on that news update break. So you said something earlier, and the impression one gets is that you're not too confident about what is going on with the PDP right now, even with the non-elective Congress that's gone on and all of that. You still believe that is some, predetermined agenda that is being played out?
Yes, sir.
Clarify.
Yes, you see, I was saying it's somehow insulting and ridiculous when we still talk about PDP in the context of McCarthy and Sheriff. After the resolution of the crisis by the Supreme Court, the leadership supposed to come to equity with a clean hand. There had been insinuations that they had predetermined agenda, and it looks they are going that way. If people had been in positions and somehow they supported Sheriff, it is not the point of engagement with the party. So you couldn't be talking about Victor, Victor no vanquish, you are going to discipline people, some people held you back for 1.5 years, and in the process start dissolving them. And you see, it's unfortunate, it's making one, because you need to be a Nigerian before you can be a party man. Fundamentally, the issue at stake is this country. And when people just talk about loyalty and commitment to party, to my mind, they are being myopic, because if there is no Nigeria, there can be any party. If we are talking about taking over government, we need to understand that Nigerian people were not wrong for alleging that we mismanage funds as a party. which some of us feel bad towards because we never had a PDP meeting where it was resolved that they should so go and steal money. If that was to be the case, a priori, fundamentally, the new leadership should come to the reality of the fact that we are not going back to those allegations of stealing money, because whether you like it or not, despite the non-performance in terms of bread and butter on the table of Nigerians, the Buhari administration had brought a deviation to the semantics on fighting corruption. We need to face the reality that corruption is become obsolete. We must not, as a party now, start showcasing, unfortunately, those of our public officers who had been corrupt, because none of the corrupt people had come out with confidence to say it's wrong allegation. They are justifying it within the laws that they have stolen legitimately within due process.
Could you be clearer, really? You know, I'm thinking, what exactly are you saying? Are you saying that the same corrupt elements of the party are still
the one on ground now?
Fundamentally,
okay,
there are two issues. I had expected the leadership, because politics is about freedom. But if you are dented on your own. You cannot continue in the old ways, like you find association of former ministers, association of former governors of what administration are we talking about? Former ministers of what, like the Azini? You see, we should come out as a party to let Nigerians know that unfortunately some of our members opportune to be in office have done so. We can't continue constituting committees and issues round the discredited former party officers to the ridiculous extent that we are putting the party machinery in the hands and revolving around such entities.
All right, now,
like in the Southwest.
Yeah, but as it is right now, the people, the leaders and all of those persons who were there before and made the mistakes are still the one now coming, pulling everybody together. Do you have doubts that with these same people, 2019 might not be a reality for PDP?
It's not even doubt.
Okay.
It is the reality that we're taking Nigerians for granted, one. It is also ridiculous that these people are undemocratically taking over. You see, aside of being dented, aside of not being the finest face for the party to the Nigerians, they are undemocratically being foisted on people. I'll give you an instance. I can only state basically about the Southwest, which I am very conversant with. It is desirable for family issues, for party issues to be resolved without going to court. But a situation where the umpire is perpetually in bias, there is no alternative than to seek redress in court. And we have traveled this way again before. There was a Supreme Court judgment to PDP some time ago that the national of the party is entitled to submit governorship candidates to INEC. But what happened? Our leaders started getting bribed, and somebody that didn't win the primary gets submitted. The same way we are talking about convention is supreme. Convention is supreme. If you implement it with sincerity of purpose, yes, it is supreme. But is it supreme to Nigerian laws? So when the Constitution says any law that is not in conformity with the Constitution of the Federal Republic, we don't need party commitment to know.
So what you're saying in effect is that even this non-elective Congress, which was meant to unify and reconcile all parties, well, you said it already.
No, you see, the convention was not meant to unify all the parties. Okay. The convention with sincerity of purpose should have been a fantastic reunion, like you said, because it was non-elective. There's no basis for disagreement. It was just to come and endorse the allegation of the tenure of the caretaker. But when the courts of competent jurisdiction in Nigeria says, in Southwest, these are the executives, you will expect the leadership to show eminence by trivializing personal interests and the desire to impose people. but they didn't do so. They are worshipping personalities as against the position of the law. So when the Constitution says don't do this, the court says don't do it, they're supposed just not to do it. But they went ahead and allowed delegates that were not the delegates as given by courts, and in ridiculous form, they now dissolve ESCOs that had been given clean bill by competent court of jurisdiction.
Okay, let me we're trying to manage time in here, but I need to ask you this. Now, Obon Victor Atta, former governor of Akwa Ibom State, has said that, or has advised that for PDP to stand, there has to be some level of mergers. And he particularly talked about Accord Party, APGA, and some other elements. Is it likely that the PDP could certainly merge with other political parties to come up with a new ground towards 2019?
Any idea towards a wider and bigger party is always desirable for winning election. But no matter how big a party is, without adherence to the rule of law, without sincerity of purpose, it cannot work. Like I was telling you, yours truly, I was compelled to institute a case against the caretaker committee because I wanted the court to determine whether the so-called convention being supreme makes judgment of Nigeria subordinate to PDP constitution. I had to institute a case against them because there is a judgment and other that was served on them, received at the secretariat. We say whoever comes to equity must come with a clean hand. If we are aspiring to be in government, we must follow due process and refuse tampering with facts. If there is an order of court that don't do something, you went ahead and do it, and you are standing on the law, claiming a Supreme Court relief, whoever comes to equity must come with a clean hand.
So are you saying then that it is not yet Uhuru for the PDP with the picture that you have painted, and then you have a party that seems to be fixated on 2019? Would the party be shooting itself in the foot, just fixing its gaze on 2019 and not settling all of the issues that seem to be on ground now?
Thank you very much. My own take, like I said, you need to be a Nigerian before you start being partisan. We have seen the amalgamation of interests that form the APC, and we are living witnesses to the consequences as a nation. You see, when people talk about taking over power, that is political deal. That's not in our best interest as a nation. Those who are taking over the power are the people that are taking over right. If we must take over power, let us take a power in very contentious and correct manner, so that we can give service to the people rather than just taking over power in the context that we have been seeing previously, and it is only public office holders that make money, and we get poorer as a nation, and we go down in the economy. I think that's not desirable.
All right, so in this case, would you advise that instead of fixing your gaze, the PDP fixing their gaze at 2019, they should be working towards 2023 maybe, and use this time to build an ideology, use this time to, consolidate themselves?
No.
Okay.
That is why committed Nigerians, committed party men like us are raising issues so that we can solve the problem in earnest. You see, like when we mentioned the issue of the face of the party, leaders that are corrupt, you see, leaders that are corrupt, they should on their own understand our position for not wanting them to be face of the party. I admit an instance here. People are having EFCC cases. It's not as if they are complaining that they did not steal money. The monies are not there, but they are going to court to defend themselves that they stole the money within due process. Those are not the faces of the party we should be looking for.
But there are still allegations of the corruption.
That is why I'm saying that in Nigeria, we carry issues to the absurd. When you say an accused is innocent until proved otherwise, but there are conventions beyond the accusations. The monies are not there.
So somebody
Which
must
somebody
have
has stolen the money.
Exactly.
But you people were in charge. Let us be sincere with each other. When we lose billions of dollars and somebody now said we have not tried enough, we have not, that's nothing explain the frustration on the street. We need to come to reality of desire to win the election. And I still think between now and 2019, if we get it right, we can win. And that's why people like us are not allowing the continuation of the manipulation that will bring us into the kind of odium that sent us packing from government. There's no point going back to government with the same kind of odium.
All right, Prince Shegun Seriki, founding member of the People's Democratic Party and leader at Southwest, thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Right.
Let's take a breather.
Yeah, let's take a break.
Come back. It will be time for business. Stay with us.